Oh yeah, we got to tell him to plug his phone in because this thing. Ooh. What's up, sir? You got the link and everything? Okay. All right. So of course, you know the NCAA dropped the nugget on podcast day 30 minutes before podcast. So they're gonna pay out $2.7 billion for name, image, and likeness settlement for the last 10 years. Now who's gonna get paid? I'm trying to figure that part out. I ain't gonna lie, I'm trying to figure that part out. They say they gonna pay everybody, but his name got no particular person who's getting robbed. I know I heard that. There she go. Well, all right, sir. We are waiting on you to get in. Good evening, ma'am.
Ooh,
Good
I'm
evening.
sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. All right, Marlo. Always, we always. I got all this going on, and I don't know who thought it was a bright idea to have my Knicks play at 9 o'clock on a school night. I got issues.
9 Eastern?
Yes. You in Central, right?
Oh, wow. No, Eastern.
You in Central? Eastern? Okay. All right.
North Carolina.
Because you are a real journalist and you are able to do
I
swag
am
stuff.
not. I am. Let's just get one thing straight. I am not. I am a podcaster, an HBCU podcaster. From time to time, let me see it. Oh, okay. So you haven't started yet?
No, we really haven't started. I always start the stream on time.
Okay. I didn't. I broke my iPhone. I'm terrible. I'm allergic to iPhones, seriously. So these folks, so I haven't even been on my channel. So I'm glad that you invited me because I was definitely going to take a break. I was going to take a break. So now I got something on there like, okay.
Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you. Every time I say I'm going to take a break, the NCAA always do something.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They always do something. So, but I don't know who I got beef with more right now. Do I got more beef with Prime, Barstool Sports, or Pilar? I haven't decided yet.
Why you got beef with Prime? Let's start there. Where did this manifest from?
Hold on, man. Let me get Marlo in here, man. We can't be doing this for free. This is good content. We can't do this for free. I mean, because it was, there you go. Sir.
I'm just saying, if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about
What's going on?
Oh. Well, I guess since everybody's here, everybody is
still in transit.
Oh, you still in transit? All right, make sure you plug your phone in because this app eats up everything.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it's like it will run your battery down quickly. That was one of the issues we had with it in the past, and we trying it again. We're trying it again. So, Lord, give us some grace, homie. Is you in the truck? Is you in the truck?
Hey, Jay. Yeah. We gonna be real. This is gonna be a good live, right? I get to let my hair down a little bit now because I'm on somebody else's podcast.
Okay, so I don't feel bad now. But get this thing kicked off. Ladies and gentlemen, it is another one. Gathering an Old Man podcast featuring the amazing She loves thee, myself, Marlo, TP. We're here to bring you the good news, the good news. But before we do that, I got to show out for a minute. It's been a very interesting week. And sometimes I take offense to stuff. I do. Sometimes I take offense to stuff. And this week, people was competing on me to take offense to stuff. But I'm gonna start with Barstool FSU. If you're an FSU fan, my people, my Cross Game Street people, if you don't want your feelings hurt, now is the time to leave.
Uh-oh.
All right, Barstool, you made a comment about everybody wanted Prime to be the head coach instead of Mike Norvell. That's not true. If you go back and look at the old episodes, we wanted Prime when there were rumors about Harbaugh, when there were rumors about Kelly. That's when we wanted Prime. Matter of fact, on this podcast, I believe I said, correct me if I'm wrong, Marlo, I will fight Harbaugh before he gets off the plane, before he becomes head coach of Florida State. I said that, right? That was me? Okay, just
Yep.
making sure. So, only reason this is an issue for me is because my Cross Game Street people, it's a segment that don't know how to keep it PG. They get disrespectful with it. They start to let their white linen show, and now I got to check them. I want that era dead. That's dead and gone. That Prime discussion is nothing to be talked about no more. We just got back friendly. Let's keep it friendly. Because I have no problems bringing out the belt. No problems at all. Let's keep it friendly. All right. So, starting off right off the bat, because, you know, the NCAA, what would a week be like without the NCAA starting some mess? The NCAA is going to settle the name, image, and likeness suits for $2.7 billion. And according to sources, they are going to pay the money out themselves, which I'm sure they're going to get it back on the back end. They're going to pay the money out themselves and not worry about member institutions. Um, you do know the bulk of that is going to go to FBS schools,
Mm.
which I found it interesting that they only did 10 years. Because if you do more than 10 years, then you got to take a look at some athletes that made a big run. And you know what? I ain't gonna start nothing. It ain't time yet. It ain't time yet. Um, how do you feel about that, She? Did we lose her?
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
I
How do you
mean,
feel about
did any of the FCS teams file lawsuits? Did any of the HBCUs file lawsuits?
that? These were
You
all. It's
don't
just.
get you can't participate if you haven't done your due diligence, right? You
That
said
is
they're
true.
settling lawsuits. In order to settle a lawsuit, that means that lawsuits would have had to have been filed. So that just means that HBCUs and maybe all of FCS missed the boat for filing those particular lawsuits. Why
Which is
is
why.
everybody talking about Shalimar in the chat? Good lord.
Oh, we getting there. We getting there. We getting there.
Oh,
We
okay.
getting there.
All right.
We
I
are
don't know.
getting there.
I thought y'all sent
Oh,
out.
so you know what? You know what? You know what? We
I
could just jump right into it.
no,
All
but
right.
I. Oh lord. You could start with somebody else for this question, because I
I,
get deemed a Sanders hater, and I'm not. I'm just start on the top right corner. Let him go first.
TP, TP. I know you
Well,
see.
I was listening to what she was saying, and yes, you have to be a willing participant if you want to reap the rewards. But you also got to know about it because something tells me that some of these lawsuits were filed out of the public knowledge.
He gonna start.
Probably like some backdoor type situations where they was You know, if you didn't have inside knowledge, you didn't know who to talk to. You didn't even know what was going on until it was too late, till it was
Well,
already in
lawsuits
motion.
are very expensive. What I found out is that the black community in general, not just HBCUs, are hesitant to file lawsuits. This lawsuit probably was filed at the beginning of NIL becoming actually like a thing. And HBCUs and black community, they don't like filing lawsuits. They
Hmm.
don't. We needed to have filed a lawsuit 2 years ago to get money back for the underfunding, and nobody wants to file the lawsuit. They say it's going to take 10 years. It doesn't matter how long it takes. That's the only way you're going to get your money. So I
Hmm.
think that might have something to do with it. You're a Texas Longhorn fan.
I
I
am.
bet you they going to get their NIL deal money.
They will also be backed by a lot of boosters and oil money in Texas. That happens
Well,
as well. Not my money,
M-
but
M- Marlo, oh God, Marlo.
Yes, sir. Now, what's state the question again? Just so I'm
So
clear.
the NCAA is paying out $2.7 billion to mainly FBS programs for name, image, and likeness, or to settle name, image, and likeness lawsuits. But remember, the original lawsuit, this all stems from Ed O'Bannon. If it wasn't for Ed O'Bannon, we wouldn't even be here at all.
Correct.
So, but do you think HBCUs missed the boat on this settlement?
Mm, I think it's a real great.
And we lose Marlo. Marlo's on the road, everybody. I apologize. Um, I think I'm gonna go jump right to the main event. TP seen the tweets. You seen the tweets with Bossy Prime's youngest daughter. Hey, Marlo, you there?
I am. This thing keeps kicking me off.
Yes. Well, we're gonna get you to the house. Once we get you to the house, you're gonna be all straight. It
Okay.
apparently is not a friend of cell phone. Do you have it plugged in?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure. We got to work on that. I'll be over there this weekend. But we was getting to the whole Prime not supporting his daughter transferring to Alabama A&M. Um, and to be clear, full transparency, I made some comments. Prime is a Seminole like myself. I expect more from him than I probably should expect. However, I made some comments. I posted on Twitter about how I felt about him disrespecting players. But to run down the list, you had your homeboy, old Buddy Neely, running down Cormani. I ain't really take too kindly to that, and I voiced my opinion on it. Your son then goes into Twitter and calls a player mid that was transferring from the program. Now I'm gonna say it again. These players don't belong to you. And if the player was mid, you was the quarterback of the program. You was the leader of the program.
Mm-mm-mm.
Leaders will take you as far as you're gonna go. And if they were mid, that means there was a, how can I say this nicely? A malpractice in leadership. And leadership comes from the head, which leads me to Father Prime. I
I
should
don't know
never wake
what
up.
happened. I really don't know what happened.
Okay. So Xavier Smith transferred from the program.
Okay, so I know about Cremani.
Xavier Smith was the player that transferred from the program.
Wide receiver.
Yes,
Okay.
did a article with or did a interview with the Athletic, saying that
They
basically,
don't got no NDAs up there. There's no
mm-mm,
NDA in Colorado.
no, saying basically, look, he didn't get a chance to know me. He just told me I need to leave. Now, TP can attest to this. Some players get different treatment because of their ability. My thought process is this college football. You only gonna be as good as your core. Your star players can take you a little bit, as we saw with Colorado. They had nice little splash plays, but their core was weak and they got exposed. If you're not building up your core, what are we talking about? But I should
That
never see somebody. Go ahead, TP.
that team was soft and they got exposed. When they played some real goons, they had nothing. When
First
they
of
played
all,
Oregon was a massacre. That was
and
actually embarrassing.
and they're not goons.
And they're not even they had some first round talent on their defense. But outside of that,
Yeah,
they're not known for beating up on people like that. Not physically beating them up. Colorado was physically beat up in most of their losses. Like to the point where it was pretty embarrassing. Like they didn't look prepared. We can do all of this, hooping and hollering in front of a camera, but then we come down to the sideline. I got to see some real coaching. I got to see the, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're gonna lead, you got to lead from the front, but you also have to lead by example. And the example that they had been being shown wasn't the right one.
I think for Prime, his first mistake was who he put into power for his offensive coordinator, his defensive coordinator. He kind of like abandoned people that he could trust that were actually going to have his best interest at heart. He abandoned them and basically hired like big names, but those big names can get a job anywhere. So he abandoned them. Um, and Prime really did a 180 from Jackson State to Colorado. His rhetoric changed. Um, at Jackson State, he was taking
That's the
these
prime.
boys and turning them into young men, to grown men. They gonna leave a grown man. They gonna leave with some education. Um, he wasn't necessarily haughty and arrogant, but then again, there was NDA signed at Jackson State, so we really, really don't know what was going on in that back room. But what we can say is what was presented out, which was he's a family man. He's all about community and about the team. And in Colorado, there are no NDAs. And he came in there talking about, I'm bringing uh, my baggage with me in Louis. Like,
Kind of feel like his whole mission statement changed.
yeah, it went from one thing to and then he tried to do the old, oh, I'm trying to get black coaches, head coaching jobs at the FBS level. He's abandoned that as well, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Um, so he kind of lost his message. Everything that he was doing at Jackson State is a 180 from what is happening in Colorado. I don't think Prime would ever do something like that at Jackson State ever. I don't know
Probably not.
what's going on up there, but it's really goes to show you his behavior when he exited Jackson State and how he used people like Neely and other people to talk down on Jackson State. Now you're going to be able to see, you're watching it, his whole life just crumble.
Hey, y'all ever y'all know how like we might have like a local rapper that's like, they really hot in they area. Everybody mess with them, and then they meet up with the big time. They go Hollywood on you. Now
Mm-hmm.
they music done change. You don't even like the way it sound no more. You don't know how you feel about this rapper no more, or this artist, however you look at it. That's what Dion done to it.
Mm-hmm.
He Hollywood
This
now.
man,
But you can't be like that around those type of people. They don't really like that. I mean, they'll
Nah,
like when you're making them money and when you're winning. But when you losing, you get ready to go
you
4 and
can't
8 again. Might lose to North Dakota State.
let me tell you
you
something.
can't talk you can't talk shit and lose. You can't do it. You can't talk
Let me
shit
tell
and lose.
and I ain't got no dog in this fight. If you want my honest opinion, I hope it's 58-58, 13 overtime tie. I don't have no dog in this fight. However, I don't want to wake up in this world and look up and see them people in North Dakota that won one. You already can't tell them nothing, and they don't want to come south of the Mason-Dixon line and play nobody. You really ain't gonna be able to tell them nothing.
This is like they're literally taking it as not only Jackson State North, but also
Hmm.
Colorado. Like for them because they were trying to schedule with us, but they didn't want to come to Jackson State first.
And that's my problem with them.
And for me, I just Shador, um, what he looked like and what they had him looking like at Jackson State was a leader, a player's player. You know what I'm saying? Like he cared about the team. He was flying out the wide receivers to Dallas and the O line to build some camaraderie and to build something. You cannot have that type of persona and think that these young men are going to want to protect you. Like the way it was
Right.
in Jackson State, the offensive line wanted to protect him. And my thing is this, like your daddy's not going to be able to protect you when you're in the NFL. And these are grown ass men. So
Hmm.
can you imagine if an offensive line doesn't block Micah Parsons?
It's
Take you
over with.
out. Take you out. Lay you out.
But
Right.
I've always hung on the saying that you should believe people for who they are the first time they show you. When Dion was drafted by the Falcons,
Oh
like
man.
he already showed you who he was, and to think that this would change, even after his NFL career is over, no, that's who he is.
You mean like
You,
are you talking about like being in the golf cart, the gold plated golf cart, or just the
yes, how he
cars?
showed up. Yeah, that's who he is.
Okay, but that's not his son. And he was a what? A deep was he a corner, a defensive back? You
He was
can
a
Yeah, he
you
corner.
was a
can
corner.
you can be that. You can be that at that level. You can be that as somebody that's on the defense. You can have that type of persona. As the quarterback,
Hmm.
you cannot have that type of personality because you have to be able to win over the room.
You have to have this sense of humility. There has to be an extraordinary amount of work ethic because you want the rest of your team to work, but you ain't showing the same thing. Like when CJ Stroud came to the Texans, he came in ready to work. He watched more film than anybody. He's studying. He's out on the field practicing. He's doing all these things. He's showing his new team who he is, and he did it from day one.
And the arrogance that he has, like when he's on that show with Micah Parsons, it's not an unlikable arrogance. It's a
Hmm.
I'm better than you. I'm like it's a likable arrogance, and it's like, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about. And it's not just in football. It's like when he comes across, he doesn't come across as unlikable. Whereas Shador, I was like, who is this young man? This is not the young man that millions of people fell in love with and wanted to know more about him. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
what type of trajectory his dad is trying to take him on, but I feel like scouts, GMs, coaches are, and if you notice, Travis Hunter doesn't have that type of personality. Even though he has that type of personality, allegedly, he doesn't put it out there like he's like that. Shador is the only one that's getting the bad rap, right?
Yeah. Well, what if I learn anything from the draft this year? It doesn't matter if your teammates like you. If you're good enough to go number one, you will go number one. Because I heard so many negative things about the teammates of Caleb Williams, and his work ethic and personality. It kind of like took me off of, his train or whatever. But I'm looking at it like, well,
Mm-hmm.
he's still good,
But
So this
USC
isn't
was
this
winning
isn't
more,
setting a
right?
good precedent. This isn't
US,
setting a good precedent.
but USC won more, right, than Colorado.
Yeah, they won a lot more. Not this last year. I think they only won 6 games. I'd have to go back and look, but they still. If you go back to his Heisman Trophy winning season and then to last year, he imploded. He imploded on and off the field.
Who are you
Mm-hmm.
talking about?
And Caleb
Caleb?
Williams. Yeah,
Hmm.
but
I'm
then,
not.
and I heard a lot of things about like when he didn't play in their bowl game, the teammates was like, "Hey, we get to be a team again." They were happy that their star quarterback wasn't playing in their bowl game because they got to actually play together, and it
Caleb's
wasn't
the
just
one that
about him.
didn't, the one that did decided to not do any of the
Yep.
combine stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. He said he'd already talked to the Bears. He was going number one. He didn't have to show anybody anything, nothing. He just
I feel
showed
like
up to
I
the
feel like
draft in a blue suit, and that was it.
I feel like with Shador though, Shador doesn't have a Heisman trophy, right?
No.
No, no, no.
And
He is a hopeful going into this season though.
I don't know. I guess it just depends on that if you believe that Shador can have these types of issues and that coaches will take a shot at it. They took 6 quarterbacks in the first round, right?
They
Yep.
did.
And then Spencer Rattler, he comes in at what? Fifth round?
Hmm.
Um, Will Levis for the Titans. He thought he was going first day. They had him show up and everything. What they do? Let him sit there and be embarrassed, and he did not get drafted the first round. He had to wait till the next day.
Hmm.
Um, so for me, I feel like Shador has a lot more to prove this year, and I feel like uh, he's not starting off well. He lost
Hmm.
his main wide receiver to the NFL, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Who would have been drafted had he not been injured.
So let me
Perhaps.
get Doc in here. Um. So God, I don't. I'm just gonna have to say it. I got some issues. I'm just gonna put it out there. We're just gonna get it all in the street. Um. Prime came to us in the coaching world as a good family man, a father. Please understand, every one of these gentlemen on this podcast are married fathers that take care of their kids, that support their kids. Ooh, there is no way in the world, I'm gonna let my child feel like she unsupported when she make her decision to go somewhere else other than the mountains. Ain't no way. Maybe we got Doc in here. There we go. What's going on, sir?
Man, I'm
I
good.
don't know. I don't know, Troy. Any of my sons tell me they going to Oklahoma, we gonna have a problem. We gonna have a whole
Listen, I
falling out.
posted it on I posted it on Twitter. I posted it on Twitter. How to get this on? Go to them Ibis people. Go to that school in Daytona, and go to Gainesville. That's it. You can go wherever you want to go, just not them three places. But even if
Right.
you go, I'm gonna take you there. Just don't ask me for no car. That's it.
You on your own.
Hey,
Hey, it's paid
Yeah.
for. You on your own.
hey,
I think
I
he got
can't
out
say
because
nothing.
Prime's not going to be here past December. He's gone.
You think so?
Uh oh. She got
Absolutely.
she got scoops. See, don't
What
let
if
her fool you. She be
what if
having
what
scoops.
if they win though? What if they win? Because we know the
He's still
Pac-12
gone.
got
He's not.
decimated,
The
so
only
it's not
reason
even the
why
same
he's
conference.
the only reason
It's
why he's here is to get uh Shador and Travis to the draft. That's it. That's his only concern. He's not even really worried about Shiloh. Keep it a buck. You should have let
nobody,
Dang.
Shiloh enter the draft this year.
nobody was
Um,
worried about Shiloh.
yeah, so for that, he's worried about those two and those two only, okay? Um, and he's gone. So I I don't know. Everything with Prime is very calculated. Even this little uh Twitter beef, everything is calculated. He literally has a management company.
Hmm.
He has like documentaries. So everything with Prime is really, really calculated. So this was intentional. Like everybody's thinking, oh, Prime is he's imploding, but this is it's highly intentional. And I'm thinking he's making his case to be able to take that exit in December.
Why would he take that exit though? Like for real?
His quarterback is done and Travis is done. They're both entering the NFL draft. He doesn't have a quarterback. They don't have any
So
backup quarterbacks worth anything to he told them to get into the portal.
so you don't think that he has the ability to groom a quarterback outside of his son?
No,
They
he's
haven't
not
groomed
even he's not
him.
even grooming
He
he's not
he's
even
been.
grooming
Yeah,
Shador.
thank you.
Look, I
Shador
can tell
is
you.
who he
Wait, baby.
is.
I can tell you this, yo. I can tell
There's
you this
no
though.
growth. Like there doesn't really it's not necessarily that he needs to have growth. He just needs to gain some weight and keep doing what he's doing and stay and not get injured. But as far as like he's not necessarily developing any of these players because you don't even have them long enough to develop them.
But
Go ahead, Doc.
this I can tell. But this I can tell you about Prime and Shador. Shador been on Prime still since he was a child. Um, that's the only thing he knows. But I can understand where you coming from. That he might be up and out of there after Shador leaves.
It's so I say this again, full transparencies. I don't like runt quarterbacks. It's telling me he's 6'1" on the Wikipedia. I'll give him 6 feet.
I've
I don't
seen
like
him
runt
stand next to
quarterbacks.
his dad. They are the same height, and Deion Sanders is 6 feet tall.
So we
So
talking
that
about
means that
NFL.
you don't like Bryce in at the Panthers,
No,
No,
I don't. I said he was
Justin
too
Fields.
small.
I don't like
I was so happy.
short and skinny.
I was so happy that the Panthers went up and got him and not CJ Stroud. Because if they would have went up and drafted CJ at number one and left us with Bryce, we'd still be in shambles right now.
So for those who don't know about this podcast, myself, TP, and Marlo, we talk trash to each other about each other's teams. And a couple seasons ago, all our teams was trash. This last season, TP had the only team that was good, and it was because
The
they had a
Texans. It was a
yes.
long
Yeah.
time coming. Texans been trash for a long time.
Uh-oh.
Dallas Cowboys been in
Hey, I
the
don't like how
Hey,
you
I
held
can't say
that.
that. I
Hey,
can't say
hey,
that. I can't
a
say that.
hey, she held that long.
long
Hey, you
time.
held that long a little bit too long.
I like
Oh,
the Texans. I like it. I haven't been a Panthers fan since uh Cam Newton left, and I'm not even gonna get on it because the folks was getting on me this past weekend when I got on my Cam Newton stool. Like I stepped up there and you know they didn't like all that extra Cam stuff. But needless to say, I think that Shador's accuracy, the fact that he was able to still hold the accuracy, even though people are saying he was taking those sacks to hold on to his accuracy, he has accuracy that went from the SWAC all the way to the Pac-12. So you can't deny that Grown is a very good player. That's why he can just let his actions speak for itself, because even in all of those different games that he lost, I mean, it wasn't necessarily Shador's fault. He's impeccable with getting the ball down the sideline in very tumultuous timing. Like, I think the offensive coordinator was kind of off on some of those plays.
I can't say that.
What?
So hold on. So just give some context. That offensive coordinator, everybody thought that the offensive coordinator was brought there to have a fast-paced passing offense. If you go back to his time in the MAC, his fast-paced offense was running. The thing that Colorado could not do was run.
Well, why didn't he just keep? And that's my thing. Like, when you so-called elevated, you were supposed to elevate the coaches with you. He didn't trust in them to perform.
I'm gonna tell you like this: they already had their office coordinator and defense coordinator hired for him.
They should have kept who they had at Jackson State, because he wants to air raid. And that's another thing. Instead of trashing running backs, just tell the truth. You want to air raid offense with minimal running back play, period. Like, that's
That ain't
how
how the
Air
air raid
raid does
works.
not work. It
Well,
does not at any
I'm
level.
just telling you what Prime wants. He wants to air. He
I
wants
get it.
Shador to air it out and put up.
Hold on, time out. I don't know who JBM is. Don't you put that on my Raiders. Do not put that on my Raiders.
They want, and that's what basically this
Look,
is what Prime wants.
Looking at Shador play, I feel like he is extremely talented and can make every throw. If put in the right situation, he can be successful, even at the next level. But it has to be done right. You can't just put him in there and tell him drop back 40 times a game and expect him to, turn water into wine. It ain't gonna happen.
In the Big 12?
No, I'm saying if once he makes it to the NFL, we're talking about him playing at the next level. He has the arm talent to play in the NFL. But do he have the other intangibles it's going to take to be a good quarterback at the next level? That's the question.
At Jackson State, he was positioning himself to be a black Tom Brady. I don't know what the F this stuff is that he's doing, all these extra, like,
it's
all this extra stuff, but it doesn't look, you're not looking Tom Brady-ish right now, my guy.
Tom Brady won. Tom Brady won at every level.
I'm talking about his
play. That's the right thing.
How he plays, like how he thinks, how he's able to do audibles. Like, Shador is more than just a good arm. He's able to make adjustments on the field. Like, he's very intelligent. So what I'm saying is, let that speak for itself. But he's not going to be able to get any of that. It's kind of like Cam Newton with mediocre wide receivers.
Dang. Just random shots, huh?
So Cam Newton wasn't working with mediocre wide receivers compared to other teams in 2015 when they went on that 15-1 run.
He had to work with
Steve Smith. He still had Steve Smith.
He had to work with something.
Hold on. See, I know young Steve Smith, Mushi Muhammad. They had some talent.
We talk about
Steve Smith, not elite.
We talk about like an OBJ type of wide.
No.
Steve Smith is better. I would take prime Steve Smith over prime OBJ any day of the week.
I will take over the hill Steve Smith over OBJ.
on Sunday.
Name three. Okay, so name three elite players on that Panthers team outside of Cam and then Steve Smith. Name three
D'Angelo
I
elite
only
Williams.
said
players.
two. He oh damn, he did have three. He did.
Yeah.
Who?
He did. D'Angelo Williams had a 4-year run. D'Angelo Williams, Mushin Muhammad, and
Yep.
Steve Smith.
Yep.
Mm-mm.
Jordan Gross was the offensive tackle, his left tackle.
Mhm.
Cam
Um,
was working with us. Cam
Greg
did not
Olsen.
have a stat that.
Greg Olson.
Cam did not have a
Oh my
stat
God, I
that.
forgot about Greg.
He had a wait. Hold up. I'm walking home from work.
That offense
He
was
Didn't
had a
have a
good
crazy.
Kansas
enough
City.
team.
Didn't have a Kansas
His
City
ass
Chiefs
went
offense.
15-1. He had a good
Um,
enough team to go 15-1.
Cam didn't have Steve Smith during that Super Bowl run. MVP Cam didn't have Steve. What I'm
No,
saying
he
is,
didn't. All he had was Greg
I
Olson.
want you guys to realize
Oh
that
yeah, Greg Olsen.
Cam was not working with the stacked depth. Like it's not. He did not have a Kansas City type part team, right? So the same thing is going to apply to Shador. So this is where we figure out if he's a play. If what is it? Is he a game changer or a game manager? I feel like Shador is a game changer, right?
Whoa,
Barring
whoa, whoa, whoa,
injury,
whoa. At 6'1",
I feel he's a game changer.
he got. He will be a game changer if he stopped chasing behind goddamn Tom Brady. Pick up the phone and call Drew Brees.
Thank you.
That's who he
Man,
need to call.
let's find somebody we identify with more.
Because I would have loved to have said, Mr. Neighbor Lady, but Mr. Neighbor Lady ain't been like that for 4 seasons. For everybody that's new to the podcast, Mr.
Oh
Neighbor
man,
Lady, Mr. Neighbor Lady, who's Mr. Neighbor Lady TP?
you gonna we
Mr.
so we just
Sierra
not gonna let
Wilson is Mr. Neighbor Lady.
so we not gonna just let Russ cook this year?
No.
Are you waiting for his downfall? Because it's out. You know what? We gonna go
Who
back
called
to
it
the
last year,
to the
TP? Who called it
we
last
go
year?
we
Who called it
because
last year?
I keep receipts. I keep receipts.
I
But
know I called it
you
last year.
said that he would be done by week 8
Week
and that
8.
Justin Fields will be the starter.
Hold on. I got to add
What?
a
Are we
caveat
talking
because
about
they
This
doing
Russell
crazy
Wilson?
stuff now. They
this is
talking
what he
crazy
said
stuff
about
now,
Russell
talking about
Wilson.
him doing kickoff returns. Are you retarded? Your best weapon you go kickoff return with? If this man get injured on a kickoff return, Mike Tomlin need to be fired ASAP.
Who, George
Wait.
Pickens?
Are we talking about Russell Wilson?
Yeah,
Yes,
I call
we
Russell
talk about
Why
Wilson
Russell
are
Mr.
you
Wilson.
Neighbor
saying that
Lady.
he's not going to get it past eight games?
He said
For
week
the
8 he's
last
done.
4 seasons, he has been a turnover machine. He does
Yep.
not throw on time, and he is a coach killer.
Yeah.
The
That's about
NFL
right.
offenses are so complicated. This man said, I am not going to wear a wristband. Are you kidding me?
He was going out there and winging it.
Let Russ Cook got us grits with sugar in it. That's what Let Russ Cook got us.
Hey,
What are
hey,
you, a Broncos fan?
I'm a Raider.
he's a
I'm a
Raider
Raider.
Well,
fan.
when was he ever playing for the Raiders? I don't recall that one.
He wasn't. He was the reason why I said we was going to be the second best team in the division. You know where we ended up? The second best team in the division. I called it last year. I'm calling it this year. You can
To
bookmark it.
to to be fair, there is only one good team in that division.
See
In the
this.
West,
See the
In the
disrespect.
AFC West, yes. There is one good team. The first thing Harbaugh did when he got to San Diego to LA was let every weapon go. That was the first thing he did. Let me get every weapon Justin Herbert needs to be successful, and we're gonna start over.
Hey Bishop, if the sugar in the grits is Sierra Wilson, I'll agree with you. He is Mr. Neighbor Lady because nobody want to interview him. Everybody want to interview Sierra.
hey Troy, I'm gonna switch to my laptop.
Okay, but and we took a long time on this whole prime thing, but it got ridiculous when your baby mama is on the internet doing
Mm.
10-minute lives about how you don't support your daughter. By the way, for people who don't know, Prime got custody of his kids because yeah, Pilar is different, and if the mama is supporting her kids, that says a lot. That was saying a lot. But I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna let this cup pass for me because we got some stuff we got to run through. Um, TP, I know you heard about the fight. I know you heard about the fight.
Fight.
Hey,
Ryan Garcia
should
destroyed that man.
yeah, he beat the shit out of Tank. It was ugly. Devin Haney got the brakes beat off of him. And now we know why. The man was juicing. Ryan
Don't-
Garcia has tested positive. I don't know what the consequences should be, but
I
one
need a
of them should.
retest for that. I need a retest.
Oh,
Well,
that B sample already taken.
yeah, the B
They,
sample has already been taken.
It's already
and it
taken.
was okay.
It'll
So
be back probably by Monday.
okay,
Hmm.
but he was already overweight. Had to pay 1.5 million because he was overweight. It was
Hmm.
basically that the teams both made a executive decision because there was too much money on the line.
Hmm.
Right.
They're not
He
going
was
to
on
say,
that new
"Hey, he's
juice.
he's over he's over the amount of he weighs too much. Let's just call the fight off." Like there was too much money lined up. Vegas is involved. People flying out for the actual fight. It was too much money on the line.
Well, oh,
That's what it
we
seemed
got you.
like.
We got you
That's
muted.
what it seemed. That's what it seemed like. Tickets were booked. It would have been too much lost revenue to not have the fight. But at the end of the day, what is the boxing world gonna do about it? What do the powers that be have to say, and what are the consequences?
They got to do a track
After
thing.
this,
They got to give 2 years. They got to give
How
because
many?
2 years. They got two.
2 years, 2 year
They got
ban,
to give 2 years. Yep, two.
He
two
already
year
got
ban.
This
his money. Are they gonna fine him?
they're gonna find.
He should
Well, I don't think
he
I
should
don't
be
think
fined.
USADA gonna find them, but the boxing federation will.
Yeah,
So
he would definitely get fined. I think a 2 year ban is in order. That's just bottom line. Like you cheated. You damaged the integrity of the sport.
I won't say he messed up with the integrity. There's a lot of players that juice, but
Yeah,
oh
but he got caught.
yep.
Devin was looking a plum ass fool out there. Like he got knocked down so many times. You know that song, "Get Back Up Again." A same
No,
old
Yeah.
sinner who fell down and got back up. Dang, should have just sat his ass down after the
Richard
first time.
Pryor said it best. Richard Pryor said it best. When them people be hollering about get up, fuck you. This is how I got down here in the first place. No, stay
All
down.
I could think about was "Get Back Up Again, Get Back Up Again," and it was like you could see the stars surrounding his head. And I guess I'm pretty sure the ref had some money on the over and under for the amount of rounds because he was done.
This is the same guy that said he wanted to fight Terrence Crawford. Well, you better go sit in the corner. You better stop.
We can't hear you, Doc. You're muted.
He looked like he was about to go in.
Devin kept getting hit with the same left hook. No adjustments. What was his coaches doing?
Watching.
Ask
They
him
Doing the
what
must
you
have
think
same
been
of
thing
him
to
betting on
now.
the
people.
game too.
They were doing the same thing the people out in the stands was doing. Watching.
Man, listen, I, I, all I can say is that to the brothers who felt like boxing was trying to keep Ryan Garcia down, the only people that was hurting Ryan Garcia is the dude with the needle and Ryan Garcia. Them the only people hurting
Mm,
Ryan Garcia.
Mm.
Cause, ooh, Jesus.
Wait a minute. Y'all can hear me now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So now, he said he want to fight Bud. He want to fight Bud Crawford. Did you see
Tank
what he
did.
did? Did you
You
see
know,
what he did, EJ? I'm
That's
just
what.
you
That's
saying.
know,
what.
Did you see?
No.
Look. Look, bro. I'm Oak Cliff born and bred. Did you see what he did to Earl Spence? Made that man look like Martin.
He did. He knotted him up. He
Not
knotted
enough.
him up. He definitely knotted him up.
And you talking about you want to fight? You want to fight that man right there? Nah. I tell people stay off the booger sugar. I had love for EJ and everything, other than him going to DeSoto, he the ops. But yeah, watching that fight, man, no. I'm like the old lady off of Get Out. No. Come on now, man.
This is not what you want to do. This is not a good business decision. Is what it comes down to. It's not a good business decision. If you just gonna keep getting knocked back down, you might just need to go ahead and stay down.
sometimes it's okay to be a center.
Y'all are terrible. Let's
No, look.
get back
I'm
to
just
Look,
saying.
no. Look, let me ask you a question. Have y'all ever played poker?
Oh yes, I'm a poker
If
pro.
I'm sitting there with a 2 and a 7 in my hand, and I see nothing but spades, and I ain't got not one spade, I know somebody at this table sitting here with a flush. I'm gonna
I'm
fold.
out.
You know why? Because I
Unless you
lost.
can bluff them to make it seem like you have the higher, right?
It ain't no bluffing when you got a high flush, unless they might think you got a better flush, but you over here looking sad. You can't even hide that. He couldn't hide the fact that he was getting his ass whooped.
Man, Kenny
You
Rogers
really
said you
could.
better know when to run.
You better
Forget
know when to
folding, know
hold
when
them.
to run.
Know
You
when to
gotta
hold
know
them.
when to hold them, know when to fold up, know
Yep.
when to walk away.
Hey man, that burnt orange is burning my eyes in the background.
Oh, oh,
Hey, at least he know what color it is. I appreciate you.
so
Look, I don't even like either one of y'all. I'm not a Texas or OU fan.
Nah.
I
you an
tell
See,
you
I
A
that.
ain't
and M
got nothing
fan?
against no.
Oh
Look,
hell no! I'm not even an
I ain't
A&M
got nothing
fan.
against nobody but OU fans. I don't dislike no other school. It is only OU.
I gotta call a spade. You know what I'm saying? A&M took their ball and went home crying to the SEC. Didn't want to play Texas no more. And then Texas say, "Surprise, bitch! Run it back, run it back. You been gone for 10 years. Run it back.
Mm-hmm.
Come on."
Let's bring it back.
Nah, I'm a
You know
Texas Tech
what?
fan.
Oh, Red
So
Raiders, I got you.
Red Raider.
I don't have no beef with Texas Tech. My issue
They
with
produced
Texas
Pat
A&M
Mahomes.
is Texas A&M had all that money, and instead of going out and getting you a real coach, you flew your ass to Tallahassee in the middle of Jimbo Fisher radio show. Let this man lie to Seminole Nation that he was not negotiating with Texas A&M.
And
Tallahassee
he
Regional
bumped
Airport,
out.
this big,
What's up
this
with
big.
coaches? What is up with coaches lying about them taking jobs elsewhere? And
Bump,
then they just
bumped out.
pop up
Jimbo
in
is
a
about.
new outfit like it's nothing. At
I
least he
said,
didn't go back.
this. Jimbo was my hero when you get to fleece two universities like that, especially
Man,
A&M.
he is a
I
legend.
hope
He is
all
a
the
What?
legend.
bad things in life happen to Jimbo Fisher and nobody else but Jimbo Fisher.
Look, Jimbo Fisher fall under that whole Jay Cutler category. I
Ooh
envy
yeah.
people who get paid a lot of money to be bad at their job. I wish I could do that. Can I go get paid millions of dollars to be horrible at my
Did
job
somebody
and then
say
to
Kirk
walk
Cousins?
away and then
Kirk
just walk
Cousins
away from it all with all my money?
Some, did
Kirk
y'all say
Cousins
Kirk
smart though.
Cousins?
is Kirk Cousins better than Cam Newton?
No.
What?
Not even now. Give
No.
me Cam off the street.
Kirk Cousins wasn't even the best quarterback on his team when he first came into the league. It was
Why?
RG3.
He wasn't. Yep.
Why does Kurt get $100 million deal, and
Be-
y'all won't even let Cam come up off the bench?
So
Cause, cause Kirk,
I'm gonna channel my inner Marlo. He has the complexion for the connection. That's
Thank
why
you.
Kirk got all that money.
the wire.
Because
I
let me
think that's
tell
the
you,
nicest way you can say that.
Pretty much.
if could you imagine neighbor lady getting $300 million and not winning one playoff game? Wait, he only won 3 primetime games and had the audacity to look into the camera and say, "You like that? You ain't did nothing. You showed up to work. You don't get attaboys for showing up to work." Baltimore fans, I'm sorry.
Oh man, Kirk Cousins, yeah, he's the smartest one to get all his contracts since he left DC to get them fully guaranteed.
I mean, they
Yeah.
got Cam out here doing the red carpet and fashion, and he's standing next to these freshman, newbie, rookie quarterbacks, and it's just like, damn, Cam, they done reduced you to being the fashionista, and you
Hold on, don't do that. Don't do that. Cam was the first.
Blaine
Cam was the first to come out
Gabbert,
with the hoochie daddy shorts.
Glenn
Don't do that.
Gabbert, Sam
Cam was the first.
Darnold,
Cam is my hero.
It's
Cam is my
but
hero.
it's like the Panthers
TJ
went from
Walker,
one they
trash.
went from one dynamic to another. How you go from 6'6" Cam Newton to 5'4" Bryce Young? Like how
It don't add up.
Sam
look
Darnold, PJ
look
Walker,
Miles Garrett
Kirk
look
Cousins.
Miles Garrett showed up to play the Panthers and thought Bryce Young was the ball boy. He was like, I didn't even know that was their quarterback.
Man, that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. But I mean, I still can't wrap my head around it. I mean, I think maybe Cam does have a persona about himself. He has an air about himself. So that could possibly make another quarterback feel uncomfortable. But I don't know. I feel like he should be signed. They're just saying he's not the type of quarterback that can just sit and not draw attention to himself. Even if he's not necessarily purposely doing something, he's not that type of guy. Because there's these quarterbacks that are sitting. I feel like Cam should get signed, but he needs to get signed before summer practice or summer camp so that he can be there for Bryce, because Bryce needs it. And they need to draft a taller quarterback.
I got a question for you. So I got a question for you. What quarterback that's 5'10" or under that's in the NFL right now, who's gonna have the better season?
Isn't Justin Fields under 6 foot?
Heck no, Justin Fields like 6'3".
6'3".
So you got Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson.
Kyler Murray's where at the Cardinals? Where's he at?
Kyler Murray with the Cardinals. Russell Wilson, Bryce Young. Can I say Tua? Because I think Tua is like 5'11", bro.
Yeah, 6 feet. 6 feet or under. 6 feet.
6 feet under. Okay. So let's say Tua. Who else I'm missing? You know,
Tua should have been out after he had his second concussion and his hands was doing gang signs. He should have been out. I don't know. Dolphins.
Let me see. I think that's it for the short quarterbacks.
I'm about to say that's it.
I think Russell Wilson
there aren't a lot.
I think Russell Wilson is going to get it this year. The Steelers. Because I feel like Tomlin knows how to create his offense to benefit his quarterback, right? The Broncos, they did not want Russell Wilson there. They made that apparent that they didn't want him there. It was a toxic place.
I think what
think
Pittsburgh was able to do last year with Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett is a testament to how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is. And I think Russell Wilson is at least 2 wins better than the quarterbacks they had on their team, which would mean they would be a playoff team based on that, on that statistic alone.
Hey, TP.
Hey,
TP.
yo.
How he gonna do that when he gonna be on the bench? Yes, you're right. He gonna be 2 wins better because Justin Fields gonna take over midseason. You're right.
Wow.
I mean, but the thing is, when Russ was in Denver, it's not Denver didn't want him. It was Sean Payton didn't want him.
Yeah.
His name is Sean Payton guy.
And I don't think Sean Payton is that brilliant, to be honest.
Hold on. Let's be honest. Sean Payton thought he was gonna get an undersized quarterback that was gonna throw on time, and if the play broke down, if the play broke down, I got this extra element. We're gonna make the playoffs. Russ just wants to run around. He wants to make everything a splash play. I ain't saying he wrong because that line wasn't always the best. But since let Russ cook was a thing, Russ been burning grits.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Do you think running quarterbacks benefit from having a run game?
Yes.
Well, that was non-existent in Denver. They run the ball in Pittsburgh. They even went and drafted better offensive linemen this year, so they can be better at running the ball. And Mike Tomlin is a stickler for establishing the run and establishing the line of scrimmage. That alone is gonna help Russ have a way better season than he had last year.
I can't say that because Mike Tomlin was on. Mike Tomlin had Ben Roethlisberger for damn near 15 years. So, he was. It was. I think it was the same scenario, except for Ben was like 6'5", 250 pounds, and you got Russ that's 5'10", maybe 215, 220 or something like that. That is almost a mirror. It's almost a mirror image of himself. I mean, what Big Ben had, you gotta realize he had defense. He did have a running game, but I don't see him have no running game this year. Not with Pittsburgh. I don't even know who is their running back.
They still got Najee Harris, but they did not.
They declined the option on Najee's next year, so he'll play this year out, and he'll be an unrestricted free agent come springtime next year.
Bring him to the Cowboys.
Oh, you a Cowboys fan?
You've been knowing me this long, Troy. I'm a Cowboys fan, man.
You like Bama running backs?
This is safe space.
You like Bama running backs?
Man, I was upset about the Derrick Henry because I'm like, dude, you built the house in Dallas. You come in Dallas all the time. Why don't you just take the deal in Dallas? They said they didn't want to pay the money. They didn't want to pay him. I'm like, all right, go be a Raven.
Cowboys let TP go too.
I think TP wanted more money. He wanted a lot more money than most people would expect. I mean, even though he did rush for over 1,000 yards last season, to me, you're still a reliable number 2. And the crazy thing is, I feel like we should not even have let Zeke go. I'm like,
I thought TP was better. Even when Zeke was having his best season, I still thought TP was better. Because I'm looking at the electricity that Tony Pollard brought to the offense when he came on the field. With Zeke, it kind of seemed bogged down. Like, we have to do this. We have to do specific things when he's on the field. As Tony Pollard gave them more flexibility, and he was good in pass protection on third down. Like, he actually did it all. Zeke was a liability at times.
As a Raiders fan, you could do that. If you have a thunder and a lightning guy, you can do that.
That's what you said, though.
Here's my problem with Dallas.
Yeah, letting DeMarco go was crazy.
It was crazy though. I was upset about that. But my thing is, I'm not paying you. I mean, because I'm looking. It's a whole list of things that I'm looking at, though. But the main thing is your availability. Are you available to stay on the field? DeMarco couldn't stay on the field to save his life. So then you get Zeke. Zeke issue is availability. Can you stay on the field? And if not from injury, it's for him doing some knucklehead shit all the time. Excuse my language. But that's how I feel. But then when you see it and you get Tony Pollard, like you said, the thunder and lightning. I would rather have that because that takes away a lot of wear and tear from your number one, and your number two can come in and just destroy everybody, even pass catching. Passing situations.
I want to say the last true thunder and lightning was Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs. That was the last true thunder and lightning where you had this out of this world scat back, and then you got this 6'4", 250-pound running back mowing people down.
Yeah,
I haven't seen too many teams go to that kind of. We could say the Lions kind of got that with Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, but Montgomery ain't just like a true just ground and pound. He is physical. But I'm talking about that he has other tools in his bag. I'm talking about a true just downhill running back. Derrick Henry is just downhill. Now, if you pair him with somebody that's very elusive,
right.
Not give him 25 carries a game. He don't need to get 25 carries a game. Let's get him down to 14, 15 carries and have the other running back 10 with 5 catches. Now
I would say this. Give me between 15 to 20 carries from our RB1. There you go, right there. You don't wear him down so much. He good at going in between the tackles, and then like you said, give me from our RB2. Give me about 10 to maybe 14 carries off of that. That's to me. And the way it is, that's a well-balanced offense, though.
Touches, but 20 carries, I feel, unless it's necessary for that game, shouldn't be the average in a 17-game season.
Right.
Because you got to remember, we did go to a 17-game season. So 17 games at 20 carries a game is a lot. And you will wear them down, and it won't be good. You said Derrick Henry is a volume runner. He needs 25 to 30.
Okay, but on run 25, he just ran over your whole defense.
True. But you still wearing them, but you wearing them down. And the reason the Titans was running because they didn't have anything else. They let AJ Brown go. They quarterbacks were trash. I guarantee you, if they had better quarterback play, they would have threw the ball more.
I think Ryan Tannehill was just over the hill.
He was over the hill the second he got to Tennessee. He should have never been drafted as a quarterback.
Please
over the hill at Texas A&M.
Yeah, I was about to say, forgive my Texas A&M slander, but he was a wide receiver.
Right. He should have never been drafted as a quarterback.
He got drafted as a quarterback because the head coach became the offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. Oh, look, there go my quarterback. No, that's not your quarterback.
And it
you
didn't
passed
work.
over 6 other better quarterbacks, and that's the dude you picked.
And it didn't work. Then he goes to Tennessee, and again, it doesn't work.
I can hand off.
I want to say he won one. I want to say he won one playoff game in his entire starting career.
I think either 1 or 2.
And he gave the other team 3.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was never good.
Well, I can say at least Matt Schaub was better than him.
Hey, Matt Schaub broke the record for most pick sixes in a season.
Hey, but he got y'all to the playoffs for the first time, though.
We did get to the playoffs. We did. But I think that was built more on the back of J.J. Watt winning Defensive Player of the Year and us being a top 3 defense that season.
True.
But Matt Schaub, he had 4,000 yards. He had, the greatest receiver in Texas history this year, Hall of Fame inductee Andre Johnson. to throw to. That helped him
Who
a lot.
was? Hold on. Let's go. TP, you just gonna be mad. Who was throwing Andre the ball?
By 50
Anybody who put on a Texas uniform.
Who
Look for
was his
80.
first quarterback? Who was his first quarterback, TP?
No, don't do that.
Who was his first quarterback? Say his name.
No.
David
You know
Carr.
I don't
You
fuck
can't
with
say
the
Carr.
cars.
You can say Carr.
All right, David Carr.
I wish I
The
had my
first
car
quarterback in
back.
Texas history.
I want my car back.
No.
You can hate your car. I want my car back. I got Gardner Minshew. I want my car back.
Neither one of our cars did anything for us. We should have left them at the dealership.
We got to the playoffs. The
We did
perm
too.
one and Carr got us to the playoffs. For everybody that don't know, the perm one is Zay Jones, 4-quarter GOAT. I don't know what defensive coordinators be thinking. This man don't play the first half. The second half, make sure you got a man on him. That's all you got to do. You're going to win the game. Why is this man running free? 2 different teams in the 4th quarter. How does that happen? How does it? You know what? I'm gonna get off my. I'm gonna get off my soapbox since we got HBCU family here. It's been some things that I don't understand. It's some things that I don't understand. And I'll start with the other HU. I'll start there.
Oh yeah,
I don't know
about that.
The portal is closed, and you fire your head coach.
Oh.
Every HBCU on the planet is announcing their portal transfer commits. I've been looking for Hamptons. Like, what? Somebody, please.
It's over with.
Please. Like, you in the CAA. You ain't in the MEAC. Well, 2 wins might get you something. I know Dave got that other podcast tonight. I wanted to be like, man, come on, somebody explain to me something. And then I wake up and it's the interim head coach. I don't want to hear nothing else about FAMU. I don't want to hear nothing else about FAMU. Because that was literally the most bizarre. If you was going to make that move, you made that move before the portal opened.
No, you make that move. You make that move after the last game of the season.
You right.
If it's already decided.
It's already decided. Yes.
Because well, I don't know if we feel like they're under the obligation that just because we didn't fire you at the end of the season didn't mean that your job is just safe. You know what I mean? You know, going into the summer, if we still not happy with what we're seeing, moves have to be made because you don't want to wait until it's a week before the season start. You know, the team is what it is now. The like you said, the portal is closed. So who's on the team now is who's going to be on the team this fall. So if you make this move, you give the interim coach the rest of the summer to get ready for the season.
I think the last time something happened like that was it was last year to be exact. Vincent Brown with A&T. He got hot, he came on late, and y'all see what happened.
Are you talking about Hampton?
Yes. He went 1-10. So for
I mean, if you were gonna do that, you should have fired him 4 months ago. What are we doing here?
Yeah,
I still say this: if you didn't like how the season turned out from last year, let you go at the end of last year. That way you can preserve some sort of continuity in your damn program.
Kind of like how we just got a new basketball coach.
You know what? Hold on.
Since you brought that up. So I get a notification. Oh, this gonna have the SWAC and shambles. Because like I don't follow like people at certain schools, I don't see all the controversy. I'm just like, oh, Jackson State got a new head coach. Okay, that's cool. They AD like to move with pace, so okay, cool. Nobody ain't told me about the fact that the coach had left another job, then went to Mercer, and now it's back in the SWAC. Y'all ain't share that story. I had to dig. I was like, well, maybe this is why the timeline was supposed to explode, but my timeline was nice and peaceful.
Nah, it exploded for us. A lot of people, it exploded for us. So there was a lot of folks from Jackson State. They didn't like the hire because it's like, what did she do at Alabama A&M? I'm like, well, if you take a program that was pretty much down in the dumps and you have to build it back up, and you got to realize she was there for 8 years. So 5 of those years while she was there, she was playing second or third fiddle to Coach Reed and Jackson State. So you got to take with what you can. But you look at what she did in conference. She's improved every year in conference as far as conference play go. She had one of the best players on the team, Amaya Simmons, who can go get home. You know, she's a guard who can go get her own bucket.
Amaya Simmons, who left Alabama A&M when her coach left.
Yep, and she went to San Jose State.
We'll never know if this hire could have been done earlier. If Amaya would have followed her coach to Jackson State, we don't have that because she got hired so late.
Oh, okay. I didn't know she had NCAA violations. Didn't know that. It's way too early for us. I'm not even gonna ask nobody to project what the program is gonna do. I think it was a timely, excellent hire. One thing I know about Jackson State, they're not gonna wait around too long. They already got their list done when the move's been made.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then then we got A.D. Robinson, man. He's gonna go with somebody that he trusts and that he knows. So like you said, it was calculated. So it's not like he, just waited till last minute. Oh, I need to hire a coach. It was calculated. And also it was just the pool of coaches that was out there at that time.
I call cap on that.
I can't call cap because I can't call cap.
Yes. Listen, Jackson State, and you know what? Let's just put it into terms of this. Why would you hire a SWAC coach that's already in SWAC spaces? So for one reason you're going to rehire or retread a SWAC coach is because SWAC coaches, they've dealt with what it means to be at a HBCU. They know about not necessarily having all the things that you need. They're fine with the salary, obviously, because they've been in getting paid relatively a certain amount. So they know what that expectation is. So it's not like they're just gunning to leave, right? Because she just went to Mercer. But for me, I think more so of, we pretty much knew March 31st, you could infer that more than likely Coach Reed is looking to go in a different direction. She didn't re-sign her contract, and for that time frame, we were just kind of in limbo, just like. And I think he already knew that she was making her exit, but meanwhile, while everything is getting ready for her to transition to another job, Jackson State's in limbo. The players are in limbo. The recruits, we didn't get any recruits. This is a high time for recruiting. And then if they did know that they were hiring our new head coach, there could have been a possibility for her to, similar to Coach Dawn Thornton, she got some of her kids and brought them with her, right? That could have been afforded to our new head coach.
I mean, but we can't really just. I mean, my whole thing, we can't really just sit here and say, well, she's not doing any recruiting or anything like that. She's probably been on the phone. I can't, but what I'm saying is we can't just sit here and just predict and speculate like she's not doing anything as far as recruiting.
Oh no, I never said that she wasn't. What I said was she was at Mercer as an assistant coach. Coach Reed obviously let it. I mean, based off of her interview and a week before March 31st hit, or a couple of days before March 31st hit, she was, that's almost what is that? Almost a month, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of wasted because that she's telling people I'm actively interviewing. My feet are at Jackson State. There wasn't any commits at Jackson State, but my feet are here and I'm interviewing. I mean, and she hadn't signed a contract. I mean, it is what it is moving forward. It's definitely going to be an uphill battle starting off a little bit slow on recruiting. And obviously, if she was at Mercer as an assistant coach, and now she's at Jackson State as a head coach, her trajectory has changed.
Well, we're gonna come back to this.
It's kind of like we're starting all the way over, basically, because all of our team is gone.
Yeah, and I think that coming in with a clean slate, you have the opportunity to incite your own culture, and you build the program from the ground up. Whether or not they thought she was a mediocre coach at A&M doesn't matter now because she's the coach. And whatever.
Do with that. A&M has better facilities than Jackson State. We just keeping it a buck. I don't know. They're saying that there's a difference with support. So we will see. We will see about the level of support. Here's the thing. Coach, it'll be interesting to see because I think fans, they're saying that she couldn't get past the first round and fans got tired. Like for A&M, their ceiling, from what Jay White is saying, is basically to win the SWAC tournament, right? Whereas they're saying that they couldn't get past the first round, and they're talking about the SWAC tournament. Whereas Jackson State's ceiling is we couldn't get past the first round of the NCAA tournament.
But like I said, but you gotta realize too, with those 6 years, those 8 years that Coach Richard was at A&M, 5 of those years she couldn't get past Jackson. She couldn't get past Coach Reed at Jackson State. Let's just keep it straight buck right there. And I'm not saying that she ain't a bad coach and everything, but just getting the level of talent to come to Huntsville and to play for her and to play the type of style that she wants to play. A lot of people, as far as their fan base, was turned down to it. And the whole thing is, look, we got our coach. She here. You know what I'm saying? She gonna go out there and get the recruits. Let's support her. I
don't have a problem with supporting.
Right.
I do think that people, because it was some mess. I had to get off of Twitter yesterday. Everybody is entitled to express their own opinion on how they feel about the hire. And a person, it's not a dictatorship or a shut up and play ball, or you can't give your opinion because you didn't do X, Y, and Z, or don't say nothing if you don't have anything positive to say. Like, everybody has the right to express whether they like it or they dislike it.
Y'all don't want to see my Florida State tweets.
We're literally going from SWAC champions to a fresh slate, and it's similar to how football was, where it's like it's similar to football in the sense that we haven't lost a home game, we haven't lost I think the last time the women's lost, of course, was Prairie View. But what I'm saying is the front runner now is obviously Grambling.
I was seeing that. I definitely was seeing that. I'm gonna have a whole way too early SWAC basketball show because I'm definitely gonna have a way too early MEAC show since we was doing way too early SWAC predictions. But I ain't here to cause no trouble. I ain't gonna
Are we
cause
gonna
no
get
trouble.
Mike back in the building?
Oh
Oh
man.
man.
We gotta hear him.
Man, don't
Hey, you
bring
can't talk
nobody.
about.
Don't bring nobody from the Cocaine Bears up in this place right here.
Hey, we gotta bring him back, man. We gotta bring. Cause we gotta hit. We gotta hear both sides. We gotta hear both
Oh,
sides. You know
So
what I'm
for
saying?
everybody,
If we wanna have true open dialogue, you gotta have all sides.
that's new to the podcast, I tried to the best of my ability to have a top 5 social media HBCU rivalry poll every month. Here is the problem. There's Miak, Mike, and Banks, and there's Big Sis Row. I call her Big Sis Row. I think her name is Erica. She's from Howard. At
Mm-hmm.
one point, it had got so toxic and so ugly. If Compton State beef with anybody, I never saw it. Somehow or another, Delaware State got in the car with Morgan State and started shooting. I was like, I don't know what to do. I be asking questions on
I
who.
shut them down.
Oh man,
I shut them down.
It was crazy. It was crazy. I haven't done the poll in 2 months, and I ain't gonna do the poll because it's too much. It's too much. Hey, real quick, because I know we get towards the end. I'm gonna try to get a couple more topics in. TP, Marlo ain't here. He having technical difficulties. My Lightning got kicked out of the NHL playoffs. I've been saying we need to break up the band. 6 years is enough. We done played 4 other seasons with these runs we done had. Break up the band. We don't need to bring back Stamkos. Hedman need to go, but whatever. So in our playoff elimination game, we had 2 goals called back. One of the goals apparently went in, but the ref said it was interference. Our lovely manager decided to say that maybe the goalie should start wearing skirts.
Wow. Why?
I'm not going to say that. I'm just trying to figure out how we losing fights to a team in Sunrise, Florida. If you can explain that to me when you around the corner from the projects, why are you losing to some La La Land people in South Florida? Y'all got to give me some grace. I ain't going to take this loss well. We weren't supposed to lose to these people.
Hey,
Who was y'all first round opponent?
The Florida Panthers.
Wow. Why? What is this?
We can't play defense. We don't hit nobody. We've been losing fisticuffs for the last 2 years.
Look like the same fight we saw yesterday from
the Rays.
The Rays.
And guess what? They lost that fight too. 4 players suspended. Why are you getting suspended and you lose the fight? Furthermore, can I say swinging like a girl? Is that okay to say? Is that okay to say?
No, because I know some women that swing like dudes.
They can bang.
They was not squaring up like dudes. They was throwing overhand rights and missing way wide.
They was swinging like Devin Haney. How about that?
Remember them windmills? and then TP. This is the funny part. So Uribe from the Brewers swings, wins the fight, and then gets sit down to the minors.
Wow.
Uribe gets sit down. I'm like,
hopefully they teach them how to box down there.
I can't help this, but I can't help this, man, because I know I said yesterday, I sent the little gift, Rugi Odor straight Molly Wop Jose Bautista in that the Rangers Blue Jays fight, and I'm like, no, that what I saw right there with that Rays, like, no, y'all fighting like school children. If you ain't connected to somebody's jaw like like Rookie did, that ain't no fight.
The last real fight outside of hockey was Ron Artest and Jermaine O'Neal beating up the fans.
We gonna get canceled. This is the every week thing. We just push the line to get canceled. We gonna get canceled.
You know, that's 20 years. It's been 20 years since that happened.
Since the Rumble,
man. It's been 20 years since the Malice in the Palace.
The Malice in the damn Palace. Hey, but look, shout out to the Pacers. They doing pretty good this year. You know, shout out to them. Tyrese Halliburton got them boys rolling.
All right, man. So, speaking of, the Porter family is going through some things. They are going through some things. The youngest Porter, and I don't want to mess up his name. I think it's the Javon or something like that. Apparently, he got a DUI. And if we recap the family rap sheet, we got one young man going to prison. One young man gave up a $2 million contract for $20,000.
No, more than that. I think it was like $60,000.
Oh, $60,000. I'm sorry, $60,000. And then we got a DUI. I make fun of it. However, seriously, everybody need a counselor. The whole family need to sit down and talk to somebody. Y'all in crisis. Whoever the head of the family is, y'all need to sit down and talk to somebody.
Ain't Buddy gonna play overseas now?
He can't play overseas. Nobody will allow him to play.
He toxic.
TP, you know he about to face Fed charges, right?
He should.
Ain't there yet. He just ain't there yet.
Look, when you first asked me about it, you said, what should the penalty be? I said, ban for life.
And it took him, 2 weeks? And that was the end of that.
Ban for life.
And Michael just like, man, I'm just trying to get to the second round of the damn playoffs. Like, literally, I'm waiting on to see who I'm going to play. Who we going to play? Minnesota? We going to play the Mavericks? Who we going to play? Man, that's all he worried about. He ain't worried about nothing else. I bet he was looking at his brother like, you got to be dumber than a box of rocks to do some shit like that.
That was pretty dumb. That was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we was talking about the whole Pete Rose thing. What, you know, should he get into the Hall of Fame and should he have been, you know, blacklisted? It's the same punishment. You're banned for life. You know, Pete Rose just had a lot more accolades to his name when it happened, so it was a bigger deal. But like at the end of the day, you bet on a sport that you play in, and in the same game that you play in, and you purposely went out to skew the numbers. You've damaged the integrity of the game.
That's called point shaving.
Yeah, you point shaving like a motherfucker. You out of there, cuz. You done.
I was just saying, they do worse for the people in college basketball. That's point shaving.
This is a subject. Oh boy! So
let's get to it.
Every year around this time, especially right after spring, y'all don't even know who y'all star quarterback is, but we hear every season. Should HBCUs make the move to FBS?
No.
Now, I'm going to say this before we start. An endowment is not a blank check for the athletic department to do what they want to with. For no school.
Thanks.
It's $5 million to move up. You have to have the money for the scholarships. I think that's another what, $4 to $6 million.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody keeps missing this important part. Yes, you have to have the scholarships, but are you Title IX compliant? Because there are schools who are slightly out of compliance and they keep getting a pass.
How many sports do you have to be Title IX compliant?
So women's sports, you have to have it has to be two more than what the men would have.
Men have. Yep. You have to have
Okay.
two more scholarships than the men have. So I know she's sitting down there smiling because she has been quite vocal on this topic. I will say this. I am not pro and I'm not against. My issue is, and it's going to always be, because you're a journalist, I'm leaving you out this part. Media rights deals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Florida State through and through. We having issues with media rights deals. So I know the the SWAC, the MEAC, CIAA say they don't have a problem with their media rights deal. I haven't followed that rabbit hole. But I know I got on this particular bandwagon because I am an actual advertiser that pays money to advertise. And I thought my little bitty check for a little game in Miami, Florida was doing something when I seen, oh, the SWAC gave out $1 million a school. And I don't know who it was who apparently questioned me on my PWI education and said, you ain't read that right. It was $1 million total. And then I started looking because, like, I can't believe my money went to a situation that only gave out $1 million. And when I found out what the event, and that is football games and basketball games, apparently, what the payouts per event was, to say that I was outraged would be an understatement. When I went on like a 6-week rant, TP, like it was never gonna be over. And every time you see that
Yeah.
man beating that horse, it's me being pissed about media rights deals. My
I mean, the
only
horse
thing
can't
on
take
the
no
subject
more.
is my only thing on the deal is if you want to go FBS, have you a TV person and a media rights deal before you even think about moving.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is like beating a dead horse. Seriously, why are we talking about this every year? I don't get it. We don't have 5 million for just to put towards athletic facilities right now. Why are we talking about moving to the FBS just to pay entrance fee? So the FBS clearly, for 20 years, the interest fee was only $5,000, and none of the HBCUs made the jump, right? I think some of the colleges that decided to leave HBCUs, it didn't make any sense what that plan was. So they jumped out of the MEAC. I'm talking about North Carolina A&T and Hampton. They jumped out of their respective conferences on a mission to get to FBS, but you did that by laterally going to conferences that aren't even stable.
I would say this though, a lot of HBCUs looked at what happened with FAMU back 20 years ago when they tried to make the jump to FBS. It did not work out. FAMU couldn't recover for that for almost 15 years until Willie got there. As far as
Doc,
football goes,
Doc, let me let you know a little secret. Because I like to throw my money at stuff.
don't throw your money at man.
I threw my money because it said we need money. I threw my money because it said we needed money. And I said, well, let me see what's going on with the meeting, with the board of regents meeting. or no, I'm sorry, national. It was the National Alumni Association, and one brother said we still paying bills from the failed FBS jump from 20 years ago.
What?
And what I'm
That's
gonna do
crazy.
is I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send it to. I'm gonna see, Lord. So basically, what I wanted to talk about was the debt that's at these FBS levels in their athletics debt, basically. Most of these Power Fives are in debt by the hundreds of millions, and when I say hundreds of millions, I mean they're swallowed in debt. Okay, like TD Jake said, swallow. Have you ever been swallowed up? These Power Five uh athletics departments have so much debt, and there's a couple of things. Number one, banks will never let HBCUs ever get in that much debt. They're worried about FAMU being in debt $800,000 and talking about balancing a budget. And let me read off some of this debt. This is from 2000 and this is from outstanding athletics debt from 2021 to 2022. Auburn is in debt 164 million. South Carolina is in debt 169 million. Oregon is in debt 181 million. Colorado is in debt 188 million, and I think they were able to cut that in half with the hiring of Prime, but they're still in debt about 60 million. Clemson's in debt 191 million. Oklahoma's in debt 192 million. LSU is in debt 194 million. Texas is in debt 217 million. So you're wondering why HBCUs aren't getting these media rights deals in the 50 million range, or it's because these media deals are utilized to offset the cost of all this debt that these Power 5 schools have. So that's basically, and I need to see if I can send this to you. So this is basically why, so you can pull it up, so that you can see why HBCUs, if we're in debt, even 800,000, we're over here running around with our heads cut off, like we're a chicken with the head cut off. There is a disparity, yes, but let's just keep it a buck. The media rights deals that everybody keeps talking about, they're not made for HBCUs. They're not made for FCS schools because we don't have hundreds of millions of dollars worth of debt.
I can say, I'm going to be real with you. They don't want no other school from the FCS to come up to the FBS because they wanted to make it the exclusive, that club, to make it exclusive. So that's the reason why you see we see that movement. We saw all that movement with, first of all, saw movement with the Pac-12 just obliterating itself because they got the most dumbest commissioner in all the collegiate sports. But also when you think about it, the reason why they raised that exit fee, why would you coming in from the SCS and you basically going to be in a glorified group of five? Like, you're not, what I'm saying? We're not going to try to get it to no national championship game. We ain't going to get it to no playoff game or anything like that. So let's just, let's just keep it a buck. They only want 60 to 70 schools to be in the power, to be a power conference. I'm not going to say Power 5 because the Power 5 is dead. I ain't going to say Power 4 because you don't know what the ACC going to do. And I'm going to be real with you. It's the big three plus one. Because you still got to talk about the Big 12 because the Big 12 is still making moves. Like, they still, that they are in charge. Even if they are losing Texas or Oklahoma, it's still not gonna, it's still not gonna hurt they bottom dollars, not gonna hurt their pockets. But at the end of the day, it's going to be two conferences that's going to be left around. That is going to be the Big Ten and the SEC. And everybody else is just playing just to be try to get their foot into the door. And it's not going to happen. So, you know, and the thing is, those Group of 5 conferences that's out there, the schools that made that you know paid they dues to they fee to get into those Group of 5 conferences right there. Guess where they gonna be at? Gonna be back. They gonna be back at FCS.
Yeah.
They're gonna be it's gonna be back to FCS. It's always gonna be to the point where, like, do we want you here? Do we need you here? Do we gotta have you here? Because apparently no. And out of the Group of 5, you're only gonna have one Group of 5 that's gonna qualify for the CFP, the college football playoff. And that's been like that every year.
No, can you pull that up? Like pull it up, like click on it and pull it up on your screen so that they can see what I mean when I talk about athletic stat.
It won't show me the video. It just sends me. It shows me the link. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah, DM me the link and I'll put it up on the screen. I just want to say for everybody out there, there's only a group of 4. The ACC is not a group of 5. Consider Florida State gone. They gone.
Has
Consider Clemson gone.
Did they settle?
Gone.
Did they settle
No,
their lawsuit?
they have not. They haven't settled. But here's the key thing about the lawsuit. ACC attorneys assumed that Florida was going to dismiss the case in Florida and let it play out in North Carolina. So we got this lovely thing called the Sunshine Law, and the case did not get thrown out. They allowed Florida State to refile. Florida State is refiling, and because for some reason people seem to think that just because we Florida, we play. I don't like them Republican people in Tallahassee.
You tell.
But what you not gonna do is play in their face. You're not gonna tell them that, hey, we got this media rights deal and you can't see it. Ain't gonna happen. So now the state attorney involved. When that ESPN contract hit the light of day, I used to be Mr. ESPN this year. Fuck ESPN. I don't like them Fox people no more than anybody else. However, them Fox people is handing out tangible checks. Point blank, period. Mm-hmm. If you not talking about checks, quit calling Florida State. And all them people that keep jumping at me talking about, oh, Florida State ain't gonna be nothing without the ACC. Then I was the one that broke it that Clemson was filing on this podcast. Keep playing with me, and I'm gonna put that other school out there, and everybody gonna be shook. I'm not the one to play with.
That just goes to show you
I'll be honest with
Power Fives aren't even Power Fives getting $100+ million a piece or 50 million, 70 million. They're not happy with their media rights either. So why are HBCUs trying to mimic what? First of all, that's not even your level. You don't need to look at FBS and see what they're doing and say, hey, we need to be doing that. You don't have the tangibles. You don't have the range for asking for $100 million. You can't ask them for $100 million.
I'm not saying $100 million. I never said $100 million. I don't want to start at $100 million. I'm not crazy. But what you're not going to do is you're not finna tell me that, oh, the HBCUs are only good for exposure coins. Motherfucker, we start the shopping season with the fucking Celebration Bowl.
Yep.
It start with us. That is tangible monies.
Well, that's pay also, us. You have people who are taking those deals, like in those back rooms that are getting free tickets to the Atlanta Falcons game or whatever it is that they're doing. And they represent HBCUs, and they're the ones that are making the deal. They're the ones that are saying, okay, yeah, we'll accept $1 million per school. We'll accept that. I'll
I,
take
I
it.
really, I really started this podcast off by saying that she gets to go to all the places that we probably will never go because I'm not gonna stop beating that horse until I see a media rights deal that makes sense for the SWAC and the MEAC. Um,
Well, can you
I,
tell us what that looks like?
so originally, and this is based on, and I got real complicated way back in November. I just extrapolated what I would have to pay for the Orange Blossom Classic 30-second ad. Came up with a number of, I think I said like 20 commercials, extrapolated that over a 12-game season. And I said, hey, the starting number should be 1.5 per school per season. That's not a crazy number. If each school is already getting 700,000 maybe? If yeah, I think somewhere around that number. I could be wrong. 1.5 is not crazy. Up to 5 million, after 5 million, I don't know. That's beyond my pay grade. But just based on what ads cost me, that's what I went with. I don't think it's too much to ask for HBCUs to get 1.5 million when we built ESPNU. I was in Tallahassee when ESPNU became a thing, and it started becoming. Oh, I get to see Aaron McNair. I get to see Grambling. I get to see all these schools. I don't think back then HBCUs got a dime for being on TV. I think HBCUs were sold the, oh, we're going to get you exposure and that's going to get you recruits. As Danny Wright said on this podcast, HBCUs don't have no problem taking their clothes off. They need checks.
I mean, well, like I said, that's a leadership problem. Like, and that's who are making the contracts and just accepting anything. The Celebration Bowl, they just re-signed. They signed right before it was announced that Prime was leaving, and they signed for the same amount of money. There's no way in hell that with Prime at Jackson State, even though he did end up leaving, there's no way that I would have re-signed that for the same amount of money. They hurried up and made that signature. I don't know who it was that signed that on the dotted line, but there was no renegotiation to increase um the numbers, because you can bet that they increased astronomically as far as the amount of attendance for those 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like the people that you have in place are not, maybe they need to be bring in contract law or bring in, because it just seems like we always get the short end of the stick on that part.
So when I was screaming the whole ACC is full of idiots thing, the ACC didn't do the thing that the SEC did and the Big Ten did. The Big Ten got TV people to start negotiating their TV rights deal. The SEC got TV people to start negotiating their TV rights deal or their media rights deals. It makes sense that they're getting the most money because they got the people that are familiar with the product.
Mm-hmm.
The Pac-12 went the way of the dinosaur because they thought, oh well, with the brainiacs at Stanford, which is another reason why the ACC is going to die. The brainiacs at Stanford said, you know what? We can go get Apple TV and we can have them do our media rights deal.
That
Apple
was
TV said, Apple TV said, yeah, you go ahead, you do your production, you sell subscriptions, and then if you hit these numbers, maybe you'll get to this level.
they was signing 360 deals. But that's what I'm saying. You got bad deals all around.
And
And
see,
Everybody
so,
loses.
the thing with the SEC is they've always had national TV contracts outside of, the sports networks. They playing, Alabama on, nationally broadcasting TV, that you get for free. All you need is an antenna. You can watch them. You look at the rest of these media rights deals; they include paywalls. And then once you have the paywalls, now you're banking on being able to sell these subscriptions to even break even. And then when that doesn't happen, you're lost. It's over with.
Yeah, the
You also
paywalls
think
have not. The paywalls are fancy, especially in the SWAX and MEAC spaces. Well, not MEAC, but SWAC spaces they are. But I was told like that North Carolina A&T left. They went to one
the Big
conference,
South,
didn't work out. Then they went to the CAA, and they have Flow Sports Network, and they are trying their darnest to sell Flow Sports, and it costs too much.
It costs too much.
It costs way too much, but they
It,
will die on a
follow my
hill to
tweets.
tell you about how Flow Sports is better than an ESPN deal. Do I think the ESPN deal could be structured for uh, our schools to win better? Yes. Do I think they need to bring in contract lawyers and then, like you said, media people that work in the media? Yes. But do I think that like some of the people who came forward and they're just giving us shitty deals on top of shitty deals as well, that they should be negotiating media rights? No. Like some of the people who said, hey, you guys need these media rights, you ask them, what are they offering? And if your deals are so good, why is X, Y, and Z not happening? And you hear crickets. I don't think leaving ESPN is what should happen because ESPN, that is the most exposure that you're going to get.
Keep using that word.
It's not. It's there's nothing. I'm talking about money wise.
Oh, okay, all right. I was,
Money wise, they can restructure it, but
yeah.
don't say, "Hey, let's take it off so we can get more money," and nobody's watching it. Like that doesn't even make sense.
So
You need both. It needs to go
yeah.
hand in hand. And HBCUs need to stop trying to mimic what they see PWIs doing, especially in the FCS. Because what they're doing, obviously, when it comes to like the FCS championship and how they have it structured, kind of like a basketball tournament where you're just basically final destination if you lose instead of making a whole bunch of bowl games so that they're actually winning something. That's how it needs to be structured at the FCS level. Who wants to participate in win and you go home, and then if you get home court or home field advantage you have to pay $10,000 and you have to get 40% of your ticket sales? That's not a good, that's a 360 deal too. PWIs from the FCS will basically try to sell like it's something great, but it's not. It's not
All
great.
right.
There's nothing great about the championship unless you're North
They look
Dakota State, South Dakota State. Who else is it? Montana and
Montana.
Montana State. They all
Then you
get home field advantage.
hmm
And they
And
get nothing to show for it.
Nuke.
what? But here's the thing: a lot of these bowl games that are associated with the FBS, you have to pay to even go to the game. Like if your school make it, they have to pay to be in the game
So with the
and
Orange
pray
Bowl,
that they make money from it.
the Orange Bowl and a couple other ones do pay your way. But after the first, let's just the first top 10 bowls aren't
They
worth
got
talking about it, and the players know they're not worth talking about it because they don't show up.
so that's
right.
why it's kind of like I the Celebration Bowl, minus the fact that they could have increased it a couple 100,000 and made it 1.5 million or something like that. Celebration Bowl is bar none, absolutely in the FCS. That's the best route to go to. Since they expanded the FCS to 16 teams, there could be some HBCU teams that get a chance, just kind of like North Carolina Central. They might be able to get a chance
Yeah.
to actually participate. But I don't know. I just feel like for HBCUs, we need to stand in our niche, and our niche is playing each other where we get really good attendance and not try to basically do what you see other people doing because it looks good. Because when you peel back the layers, it ain't all good.
And if you saw my tweets today, because I went back and forth, because Dave gave me a link to Flow Sports that was supposed to give me a lower rate because I kept clicking on it and I get $99 for the year. And then now it's like 12 something. But I guess if I use my professional email, I get the discount. That's bad software. I've been doing software for damn near 30 years. That's bad software. Ain't nowhere in the world a QA is supposed to let that go out. But that's just me on my high horse. I let that ride. At some
And
point,
why is it like why? I don't know. I just feel like that's really expensive.
it is.
I will say this. I did, and maybe that was just because they were in the WNIT. I did go to the WNIT tournament with the North Carolina A&T Aggies, the women's team when they played. I want to say they played Troy, maybe. And it was definitely a packed house. WNIT is structured a little bit differently. The cost to host a game is a lot more affordable. And it's to basically make teams money, you know?
Yeah.
North
I would have
Carolina
loved to
A&T
watch
was
it.
able to continue to have home games. So it was to their benefit. But the FCS, I'm not paying 10, 20,000 and you taking 40%.
I will tell this story till I go to my grave. There was a FAMU squad that played in the FCS playoffs. They won their first round and second round. Their third round, they had to go up to
Youngstown
um,
State.
Youngstown State. Let's flip that. Let's bring Youngstown State to Tallahassee. There's no way they would FAMU boat race them at home. So I will never, until they get rid of that bid on a home game, I will never be a fan of FCS schools, let alone HBCU schools, playing in that playoff system. It is not a fair playoff
Do
system.
you think they introduced that to be disadvantaged for HBCUs? Like
100%. Do you think?
they're
I'm a
stacking it? I mean, it's kind of
I'm
the
a
same way
homer.
that they.
I'm a homer. Do you think they wanted
Yeah,
to see
absolutely.
FAMU win an FCS national championship again?
That's the
Because
reason why
remember,
they did that in the first place.
83, they changed the rules.
That's the reason why they did it in the first place.
So
It really your original national championship game back in what 78, 79 was supposed to be Jackson State versus FAMU. That was supposed to be your
they
real national championship game.
they flipped the bracket. Jackson State and FAMU played in the semifinals.
In
That's what
Jackson.
happened there in
In
Jackson.
Jackson.
So that's why it's kind of like, don't reinvent the wheel, because folks are like, oh, I don't know if anybody notices, but our country is going through a course of segregation over time. And so for us, it's getting towards separate and not equal. And they're basically separating things. And the way that they're going about it is facially, it looks race neutral. So if you're looking at it, you could say, okay, this is based off of the reason why this school isn't getting as much money. It's based off of property taxes. So property taxes is not based on race. But what do we know about most of the predominantly minority areas? They don't have
Red
high property
areas.
taxes. So it basically is hand in hand, but because they're able to create all these different rules that are facially neutral, they're able to start segregating. Now that they've eliminated DEI, you're also going to see a decrease in minority enrollment. There's going to be all those scholarships that a lot of people talk about that they got going to a PWI. Those are going to cease to exist. Why? Because they don't have to have a minority program.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to have minority scholarships. They're going to eliminate those. So there you go. So for us, it's not about continuing to try to assimilate. Embrace what's happening and make sure that you're doing what you need to do. So the black talent, it can return. You just need to be prepared.
Yeah.
So I feel like people are focused on the wrong things. Like, we don't need to be necessarily focused on media rights. We need to be focused on the classics that we do have, making sure that the money is right.
Mm-hmm.
Cities making $7 and $8 million, and the promoters are making 2 million, and you going home with gas money. That's not right.
That microeconomy is something serious, ain't it?
Yeah, like, and then they're like, oh, well, that's how much the city can make. Oh, really? So since the city can make that, you tell the city to give you $1 million worth of kickbacks, and then you take that $1 million that you would have spent on security or on field or on cleanup, you take that and you give that to the schools.
Right.
You know,
But see,
I, you, I like to go to Jazz in the Gardens. I do. I absolutely love going to Jazz in the Gardens in Miami Gardens. People should really take a look at that contract with the Orange Blossom Classic
Ooh.
and Jazz in the Gardens, and then come holler at me. Because everybody that was hollering about, oh yeah, my school will go, my school will go. All right, holler at me in 2 years. Holler at me in 2 years. You wouldn't want to go no more. I know I got to wrap up. Every week we give about 30 seconds to a minute time for our closing statements. Ma'am, since you have been so gracious and your fans have come out in droves, thank y'all for coming out. 116 in the building, thank you. You get the first shot at closing statements, ma'am.
Well, first off, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I kind of like, on a whim, I decided I asked you to stream on my platform, um, and you said yes that I could, and so thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. This was a great discussion. We talked about the NFL. We talked about Deion Sanders. We talked about the HBCUs. This was a great platform, and I want for everybody to go to their podcast on YouTube and subscribe, right? We need to have these types of conversations. These are great conversations to have. We talked about all things sports all over the place, and I loved it. It was great. I definitely had fun. Thank you for inviting me to speak. As a guest on your platform, I enjoyed it a lot. I will definitely be tuning in to more of your lives and promoting you all as well. Thank you guys for inviting me.
thank you.
Thank you. Doc,
Yes, sir.
man, when you said, man, invite me on to the show, I was like, well, come on. You got it, sir. You got it.
Man, I've been wanting to try to come on here for a while, but circumstances as far as being work come into play. But I had a good chance to come on there, and it was enjoyable, man. Basically, a good conversation to have. Even my man TP with the burnt orange flag, horns down, but he was still cool and great. Y'all still cool and gracious to have me on here. I appreciate y'all for doing that. And of course, like, I'm be promoting your podcast as always, because you do the same thing for me. If I post something on Twitter, y'all retweet it, repost it, and I appreciate y'all for doing that. And for those people who said I'll try to blow up my house because I done warm up some food, I got some Nashville hot chicken on my side right here.
That was Whitley. I'm snitching. That was Whitley.
Whitley gonna say
She gonna fry me on Twitter. TP.
You know she about to get you.
Yep. TP. I promise your wife we will get out here relatively soon, sir. What you got for us this week?
I don't have a lot. I'm just gonna say that we live in a world where people have a lot of identity issues. So my advice to you is be who you are and be proud of who you are. Because once you get into this mindset that you want to follow the status quo, I want to be like Jim and Jane, you confuse yourself and then you start to not be at the top level. So if you want to be the best version of yourself, you have to be yourself first. So that's my advice is if you already doing that, then keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? But take a deep look at yourself too, because if you refuse to do the work, then you will never achieve greatness. You will always be stuck in the same spot. You know, if you can't take advice or you can't take criticism, you know, you're always combative when somebody tries to, throw you some kind of advice, you won't prosper in life. So, be true to yourself, but also be open and be coachable because nobody in this world knows it all. But yeah, that's my words for y'all for this week. I'll see y'all next week, same time, same place.
Oh man, amazing show, some amazing people. God blesses me more than I deserve. Um, what I got for y'all this week is, whew, um, I try to lead with love, right? And if you know me, I could care two F's about some boot skins. However, when Emmett Smith came out and said the boot skins no longer had a DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion department, I was like, yeah, because that's what the boot skins do.
In a second.
Quietly, Florida State, my school, them Cross Gauge Street people, they quietly dismantled their diversity, equity, and inclusion department. So the possibility that my legacy son won't get into Florida State is very high. My ability to give to the university does not equate to what a legacy entrance would be. But you know what I can do? I bet you I can get to every HBCU whenever I feel like it, however I feel like it, as much as I feel like it.
Amen.
Because when Ash told me at the Celebration Bowl that he was going to FAMU, I said, dude, you're 7 years old. You sure? He said, yeah. The Snakes are the best. I'm going to FAM. Uncle Marlo go to FAM. I'm going to FAM. I said bet. And me and his mama put a plan in place so that whatever school he chooses to go to, he going to be able to go. The unfortunate part is that the school that I fell in love with in 1994 may not be an option. And that goes back to voting matters. I ain't talking about your presidential election. I ain't talking about your government election. I ain't talking about your state senate election. The Tea Party started with school boards. You start from the ground and work your way up. If you got people in place from dog catcher to school board to mayor, city council, that's where change happens. It don't just happen every 4 years because a dude say he wants your vote. The federal government did not shut down Florida State's DEI department. That would be Puss in Boots who shut down that. So remember, elections have consequences. Lead with love, and your involvement matters. Your vote matters. That is my time. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. She, Doc, TP, myself, Gathering the Old Men podcast.